Hi, this is Isabella Johnston, and today's tip of the week is about improving company culture. Every week, as a part of Employers for Change, I come in and I share a tip for HR directors, for CEOs, for hiring managers, just about how you can improve, whether it's skill development, leadership, mentoring, culture, whatever the issues are, and of course, internships. So, we're going to talk about improving company culture. This tip is focused on how you can share challenges. You want to encourage that with your team and the employees as a whole. When you share what challenges are, you actually engage that ability to solve problems, to look at things in a critical way, to see how it can be improved. So you have to remember you hired the best and the smartest people in the room for a reason. By being open about challenges you and your company are facing, you're presenting opportunities for the team to come up with solutions together. This doesn't mean that you need to share every minutia of every logistical challenge, but when it comes to solving complicated challenges, several minds, the whole company, whatever, it is especially when those perspectives come from diverse backgrounds, they're more powerful. So just remember, sharing challenges is a good thing. Welcome to the Intern Whisperer. The show is all about the future of work. Hi, I am so excited to have Fred Rockwell here. He is the founder and CEO of Ascent Conference and the co-founder of Investor Summit. He is getting ready. Now, we pre-record this show, so for the audience, when they're listening, they're going to be hearing this, and he's going to be in January of 2023. So you're going to have an opportunity to hear about the excitement that happens at the Ascent Conference in New York and how he is like in charge of all of these great things for any company that's a SaaS company. So Fred, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being a guest.
I am so excited because I will be in New York also, and I'll get to meet you in person. So that's going to be cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
So I always kick off my show where we ask our guests five words that they would say describe them and why those 5 words. So we kind of went over it a little bit. So, no worries. I can help you with that. You can pick any one of your 5 if you know, but I'll kick you off with determined. Why determined?
That is a good question. So determined, I think anyone that starts a business really needs to be determined because it's so hard. It's so much harder than you would think. There's tough choices that you have to make. There's tough situations with people where, you wish you could do everything for everyone, but you have to make hard choices like promote one person versus another, or even occasionally fire somebody. And the only way to get through it is just to be determined. So, and that's something I've been my whole life. Like, if I really set my sights on something, if I want it, then I do what it takes to get it. And that goes back to being a kid. Like, I remember wanting a TV and video games for my room so badly, and like my parents didn't want me to have it. So I was like, how do I get money? And I was like 12 years old. I got a paper route. I just, an obstacle has never felt too big. Like, I always like work back from how can I get to what I want.
So did your parents respect the fact that that was your money and they let you spend it on what you want?
I mean, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I got the video game and the TV. I wouldn't have done the job if they were taking the money. I don't think. For me, it was like, I didn't just get the job because I was interested in delivering newspapers. I wanted the video games. I wanted them in my room. That was the motivating factor. So,
money.
Yeah, they were cool. They were cool about that. I think something they instilled in me was let me kind of find my own way. And I've always been really focused on work, and work oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So,
excuse me, are your parents entrepreneurs also?
No, not at all.
Interesting. Okay, so they're respecting that too. So you said your second word is loyal. Why loyal? That is like so rare.
I think there's a lot of loyal people. I have really loyal employees. I'm really loyal to, good people on my team or family. I think it's such an important trait. I think it's more important than almost anything, like the type of people that you surround yourself with, and um,
You can't buy
being,
loyalty.
you can't buy it. You can't buy it. It's something you have to earn. And I think it goes both ways. Like they say, you have to give respect to get it. And people that are in my circle, they know I'm very loyal to them and try to help them, and they reciprocate. So, um,
That's
you
good.
know, yeah, it's happened. Like I've had employees that I'm just been so loyal to that, um, maybe I should let them go. But I've just spent so much time helping develop them. And then when you do get them over the hump, whatever it is, you end up getting paid back, 10 times more because they respect what you did for them.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I've met some people that have had entrepreneurial companies also, and so they allow their employees to kind of create that next pipeline. I'm going to guess that you are probably supportive of them as well. If this is what you want to do, I'm going to have to support you.
yeah, I'm not a dictator by any means. I'm not a micromanager. I think my management styles like trust and inspire. I like do your thing. I want you guys focused on getting to the end goal, but you can find your own way to do it. Because I don't have time to micromanage. I wouldn't be good at it. I'd be a terrible micromanager. So I do what I know.
Yeah, that's good. So your third word was funny. And when you
Yeah,
told me
sometimes
that,
I'm funny, and that's
awesome.
kind of what gets me through any situation is being able to find humor in it. My wife would actually say that I'm not funny. She doesn't understand my humor at all, but I think my team, in the like whatever we're going through, whatever the challenge is, I try to find a way to make light of the situation. And yeah, I don't know. I've always liked to joke around, no matter what I'm working on. Like there's always a way to incorporate, you know, making it fun or funny.
Mhm. Yeah, having some fun workshops where you can talk about, okay, put these two words together and that's your new nickname, something like that. It's random.
Great, there you go.
Yeah. And it is funny what people come up with. So you said introverted.
Yeah, I'm very introverted. And then especially since COVID, I've become very, very insular, introverted. Um, but I think you asked me words that describe me. I don't know if that's my favorite characteristic about myself. It just happens to be true, and people know it. I don't talk a ton. Um, I don't engage a lot, but when I do, I don't like kind of small, meaningless interactions, like being at a cocktail party where you have to say hello to 20 people and it's just 30 seconds of niceties. And I'd rather just sit down with one person and get to know that person, have an in-depth convo, and then them doing it the other way.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. So your last word that you selected was reliable.
You can count on me every time. I always come through.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Were you a Boy Scout too?
no, was not.
Hmm.
I, yeah, I just like to do what I say and say what I do. I feel like that's the easiest way to live your life. So being on time, delivering what I say I'm going to deliver, whether it's to family or employees or clients.
Mm-hmm. Those are really good traits to have. And again, especially if you can deliver on time, software and game development, so hard to deliver on time for those two particular products.
Yeah.
So ridiculously hard. So we go into this next side of a person and we want to understand how did they get started in their career and end up where they are now. But let's look at where did you go to school and why did you choose those majors? Because some people choose a major and it has nothing to do with their career path.
Yeah, I went to University of Delaware for undergrad and University of Michigan for MBA. I studied business at both. And honestly, I was just very focused on making money. And when I was young, wanted to make some bank. So business just seemed natural. And got into business, worked in accounting and finance for, first half of my career. And, had pros and cons. I didn't ever love it. I was never passionate about it. I think a lot of people kind of wander through their career a little bit, just taking jobs that are a fit without ever really being passionate about it. And there's a lot of different things that can make you passionate about a job. It can be the actual tasks you're doing or the people you're working with or what the end goal is of the company. But I think I was like that. I was just kind of, I had jobs. I wanted to work for big companies where you would know the name because job stability and it felt like prestigious maybe, but none of that. I didn't love any of that. So the market downturn of 2008, 2009, decided to go back to business school, get an MBA. And the second half of my career has been all entrepreneurship. So got really interested in small public companies and connecting them with investors, helping them. And that's where I started Investor Summit. So, and then from there, Ascent Conference spun off. And those two businesses do more than just conferences, especially Ascent. It's a community that we engage on a regular basis all year round. So through newsletters, through webinars, through we call them spotlight events, but kind of like smaller virtual conferences, in-person conferences. And what those conferences do is they help connect CEOs and investors, and they help connect buyers and sellers of software. So that's the end game of everything that we do. And I like being in that software space because it's growing and changing really fast, the way we do a lot of different things. So I forget even what your question was, but I hope that I answered it just there.
Yeah, you did. You absolutely did. So I love the fact that you focus on the community side of it. How did COVID impact your business model? Because
Oh, it
it
was,
stopped everything, right?
yeah, put a, spoke in the wheels of everything. We didn't know what we were going to do. And we just kind of redesigned a lot of things. I don't want to bore you with too many details, but, kind of invented new inventory, sold to different people. It really did change a lot, and it's still continuing to change a lot.
Mhm.
Going into the future, I think so. Corporate events are always going to be totally different, and what's changed is now people's demand, their appetite. So now they have Zoom, they have virtual conferences. The demand for in-person interactions has changed. So it's not,
Better?
no, it's worse. It's definitely worse. But there's a way to capitalize on that. And some people are doing it, some people aren't. And, it's all about the attendee experience and understanding their experience and how it's different now and how demand has changed in the space and how do you want to position yourself to, take advantage of all that, because it is an opportunity too. It's not just
Sure.
a downside. Like, it's opened up new revenue channels for us that at first we were like, I wish we could just go back to what we did in the first place, but overall it's going to end up being a really positive thing. And I think these online communities it's like a buzz thing everybody's talking about right now, but that really is the future of how people engage. Think of it like LinkedIn. that's so much is happening on LinkedIn these days. That's a whole other sales channel. There's the phone, there's email, and now there's LinkedIn. But I think it's going to be the same thing for smaller communities. So like the SaaS community, you need a LinkedIn for SaaS buyers and sellers, and they need to be able to interact in a more specific way than they can on, say, a LinkedIn. And that's who we are. We're going to facilitate all those interactions for them. And, it's going to be a mix of different things. It's going to be conferences, it's going to be webinars, it's going to be these spotlight events, it's going to be the opportunity to engage through a forum, it's going to be blogs. But that's all where we're going.
AR or VR fitting into your model and what you think it's going to look like?
It's not for me, just because I don't really understand it. I mean, I think,
The whole
and
metaverse, right? So
that's for Facebook. That's for, Mark Zuckerberg to figure out. I'm a small fry trying to, I'm working in a much smaller space. But I mean, so what we did see, the people that really took in conferences, there's companies that were launched that tried to create these dynamic 3D virtual reality experiences for people, with like a demo floor that you could really engage with the booths. And people didn't like it. No one liked it. They all thought it was awkward, and it was not a hit at all. So I think that's kind of telling. But maybe it's where the experience is. It's not like we're not robots. It's not the year 3000. I don't think we're ready for that. Some stuff maybe. But nothing will ever replace just like actual in-person interaction. And,
yeah, I
I'm
agree.
not going to take my son fishing in a canoe in the metaverse. That's not going to be their experience of doing it. Like that just seems so, like sacrilegious to even,
Right.
like some stuff you just need to do in person, experiences you need to have.
I
No,
agree.
so no, the answer is no. I'm not considering it. Um,
I think
Not for
people
what I
are
did.
made for relationship and we want that. And I think because everything is so digital now, they're starving for it, especially those that are extroverted like processors and communicators and they want to be around people. For me, it was extremely depressing to be in COVID and not be around people. I felt like it was prison so much.
Oh, I thrived. For me, it was an opportunity to just kind of, like Superman has his fortress of solitude. It
Right.
was an opportunity for me to just get really introspective and think about a lot of things. And I feel like I came back stronger. And um, I don't do well in an in-person office. It's too distracting for me.
Mhm.
So I really thrive in this environment. I actually like it.
Yeah. And that's why it's really good to have people that like opposite things though, because it can push some other things out there. For example, like, your in-person conference. I am loving it and I look forward to that because the human interaction is just super important in my opinion.
Well, it
So,
depends on what it is, like I I'm happy to just order my groceries from, Whole Foods online, or order things from Amazon and just have them show up at my house. I don't need to go and pick those things out of the store. But like for some, if you're trying to close $1 million deal, if you're trying to raise a round and you want to meet an investor, like you have to shake hands face to face with somebody to really trust them and understand them on, a different level. I don't think anything will ever replace that. So, I mean,
I agree.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
Because there's the more of your senses that you're incorporating, the sense of seeing somebody, hearing them, being able to shake hands, like you said, there's touch, all of those senses ingrain that experience even more so into a person's brain and makes it either a yes or a no. Either
Yeah,
way.
isn't it smell is the most
Hmm.
uh tied to memory of any sense? And
It
then
is.
how do you, I think trusting someone, like how do you, but
Cologne, whatever their soap is or whatever their shampoo, right? There's ways that you incorporate that in there, but it could also be where you ate when you were having that meeting with somebody. It doesn't have to be anything that they smell like, but the point of all of that is that smell only lasts for, I think it's like 5 seconds, and then it's gone. So it's such an intense memory um, spotlight for us, but yet you walk in a room and you can instantly become acclimated to the smell very, very quickly. So like if somebody is sick or whatever, you don't even smell the hospital anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Christmas, what Christmas smells like. It
Oh,
just has
yeah.
a smell.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah. So, I've hired people, I have employees that I've never met in person before, even that, but like meeting an investor or making a big sale, I just feel like there's a reason that the biggest deals are closed by the outside salespeople and not the inside salespeople.
Hmm.
It's about just kind of, you know, pressing the flesh, as they say. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It goes back to what you said. It's a relationship. And that's what's being forged there is the ability to I can't tell you how many people land in my inbox on LinkedIn and go, "Hey, quick question." I don't see it as much as I used to. That used to drive me nuts. And I went, "Okay, fine, reject. I'm not even gonna, open this up because they don't want to know me." And that's super. I'm extremely relationship oriented and driven. So I pretty much have to have that piece in there so that I talk with all of these people. This is my 5th year for doing a podcast. And so I've talked to so many people and I keep in touch with these people too, just because they're really interesting to me
how often do you do the podcast?
every week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you've met 250 people that you stay in touch
Yeah.
with.
5 times 52. Yeah.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah, it is. Hard to believe because this is a college radio studio, and so they close. So sometimes I have to get all of them packed in. Like today, I've done 3 podcasts, and this will be the last one. But they're all ready, and they're scheduled to go out throughout the end of January because the school closes down. So I don't have access to a studio where we have this great equipment, and
Do you need the equipment though? I mean, I feel like a
no.
podcast anybody can do,
Absolutely.
with,
You can. You can. And I did it when we had COVID. I was doing them all Zoom, but in the bedroom with a green screen behind me. So yeah, you can do it. But this it kind of looks cooler.
yeah, for sure. Did you ever think about doing the Joe Rogan thing and like both of you guys being in person in the same
Oh, we
place?
actually do. Yeah.
Oh,
Really,
wow.
there's 3 chairs that sit across from me. So if anybody is local or they're in here, they come into the studio with me. And so we're looking at each other, and there's a really cool, wall of color over there, and there's a TV monitor. There's all kinds of stuff. But, that's not always possible. Proximity is, preventative for sure. So what is I'm going to skip around a couple of questions here. How do you define gratitude for yourself? What does that mean and how do you show that?
How do I define gratitude? Yeah, I think it's just about taking time um, to realize how far you've come, to celebrate wins, to, yeah, like in any struggle, there's wins. So, um, and any being part of a team, like being a manager of a number of people, you have to just stack wins on top of wins. And that's what really builds momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a team, I like to just take time to actually be grateful for things that we've done, praise work that's happened, and help start building those wins. When I'm not at work, when I'm at home, it's my family and my daughter that, she's 7 months old, but just being so grateful for them and how much they bring to my life and how, happy they make me. That reminds me, anything that I'm working on, it's just not as important as in the moment I sometimes think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. So, how do you define company culture? And is that the fabric of how your company has been built?
I mean, not always. At first, it was not. And it's just people mirror what you do. I'm the CEO, so I have employees, and some of them have employees. And the way that I treat someone is going to get mirrored by them to their people. And there's a trickle down effect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as soon as I realized that, as soon as I started noticing that, and as soon as I noticed how important it was to get the bad apples out and to to have kind of like-minded, and more important than like-minded, but like valued people. So any signs of greed, any signs of being too controlling just doesn't play on our team. We're all about the team. We're all about team success and helping each other. And star players, like, you could come in, be a great salesperson or great at marketing or anything like that, and I would take a great team over that any day of the week. Just people that are working cohesively. It's just so much more important to have a like a good culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I
Because a
think
culture will overcome it. Like, if the culture is just, we band together and we figure it out, and they're problem solvers, then it doesn't really matter what gets thrown at you.
mm-hmm.
Um, but if you have those kind of selfish people, then the first bump in the road, they're just gone. Or, they're going to want to know what's in it for themselves, or they're going to be just such a squeaky wheel or problem that they end up becoming a distraction. And it's just not worth it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
I agree. And I have a team mindset also, and I really encourage that quite a bit. So I think that people it ties to games, not just even sports, but games and the desire to win. Do you set milestones for your people?
I should more, but yeah, we have milestones.
That's good.
Big time. Every quarter, people know kind of what's on their plate, what the pie in the sky goal is, what the smaller goals are. Um, so absolutely, they need that. People need it,
Hmm.
and not only do they need it, they need to be reminded of it like every quarter, or else they kind of lose focus of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
One that I have to constantly remind myself that is that I'm always thinking about these things. They're not. I have to like get into their heads, remind them, kind of tell them where we're at, or
So
else it
do you
just
do
gets
like
lost.
a town hall meeting? Do you do something like that with your? I don't know how many people are in your company.
20 something.
It's decent.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. We do like an all hands maybe once every 2 weeks, and we try to do like a retreat maybe once a year. I mean, I wanted to have a huge team in the beginning. Like, I think when I first started in business, if I had just gone really slow, I'd have 100 people right now. And every mistake that I've made has been trying to rush it, cut corners. So I've got all good people. I
Mhm.
know that.
Quality.
Yeah.
Quality counts over quantity any day for sure. So, what is it? Now, there's three questions, but they kind of lead into each other. What do you want to be known for? And that means in present tense.
I would say known for changing corporate events, kind of. I want to be known for pioneering a new way of doing corporate events and of connecting people, being at the forefront of all of that. And I would have never said that 20 years ago. That's not like a dream I had as a kid. It's just kind of stumbled into this space. I'm doing this thing, and now it's just like a passion. I've got my mind set on it. I have to do it. And if I'm going to do it, I want to do it really well. And it's a space where I think it's changing a ton right now. So just being tuned into what people want and how to execute on that is so critical, and not everybody gets it. So there's going to be some that do and some that don't. So what do I want to be known for? That, yeah, I mean, I think just really high quality, pioneering, doing things different, and leading the way.
Mhm. The fact that I like that you had said that you have spotlight ones, because I'm in the HR industry, HR and ed tech, and those are not the sexy things that people want to go to. They sit here and go, "Oh, please let it be fintech, let it be energy, let it be any of those things." But I sit here and I go, "You've got to be kidding me. People are the core of everything that you're trying to do that is super cool. So you should care about it." It's one of those things, and I saw that was one of the events that you also had when I was, like, looking up all of the special series that you do. So I was, pretty excited about that too. Um, so what do you wanna be remembered for? If you decide you're gonna exit your company, or, it's at a roast, 20 years from now, what is it that you want to be remembered for?
I would say, uh, for leadership, I mean, I just think being a fair and good person, and just trying to make the best out of every situation for everybody that I work with. I'd like people to remember me for having integrity. Um, and the thing about running a business, like, you have to occasionally fire people. That's just comes with the territory, and it sucks.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to do it in the right way. Um,
Yeah, you don't
Yeah, I
wanna
think
destroy it.
that's what I want to be known for. Sorry about the ambulance in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but
Yeah,
I am in New York City. It
so
is hard
welcome
for me
to
to
New
control
York.
my background sounds.
Yeah. I like it. I like, I've done some of my shows near, like a window where there's a road, when I go down to the co-working space. And honestly, you'll hear the bus, and then you'll also hear the ambulances go by or whatever. And I go, yeah, we're in the heart of downtown. So it's cool. It always gives a certain kind of spin to it. Um, what is the impact that you want to leave on the world?
I think just making entrepreneurship more accessible to people, and making it easier for the entrepreneurs out there to grow their business. And that's the backbone of everything that we do. So it's really about helping make those connections that help people grow their business, either with buyers or investors, and then taking all the learnings and just making those also accessible to anybody. And I think it's like, there's a group, those who start businesses are all just really like-minded people and have been through the same thing. So I do feel very compelled to try to help those, people that have been through the same starting a business struggle. And that's my MO. There's actually more background noise. Not only am I in New York City, but I do have a 7-month-old daughter, so you might hear her in the background as well.
That's
And
okay.
also
We
another
want you
sound I
to
cannot
unmute
control.
you for a little bit. Yeah. So we're going to take a moment to acknowledge our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios.
The Intern Whisperer is brought to you by Cat 5 Studios, who help you create games and videos for your training and marketing needs that are out of this world. Visit Cat 5 Studios for more information to learn how Cat 5 Studios can help your business. Thank you, Cat 5 Studios.
And we're back to the second half of our show where we look at what is the future of jobs and industries in 2030. Now, that's not that far away. It's essentially 8 years away from now. But with that said, what is it going to look like? Now, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just opinion. So who can say? What do you think for your industry events 2030 will look like? I do think that there's going to be more AR and VR. I don't know how popular it's going to be because, again, personally, I like being around people and to have to wear a set of goggles to go and talk with people. I'm going, that seems counterproductive to me.
Yeah. I've demoed all those softwares. I didn't love them when it comes to conferences. I don't see that being part of the picture in the next 8 years. I just don't. Um, I do think that just the popularity of LinkedIn, where people come together, they share content, they're networking with each other. I think that's something we're going to see more and more of, but on a smaller scale. So subsets of that. And, community building is a buzzword. Everybody's talking about it with their business and everything else. But I think, for software as a service, there needs to be a community, like a LinkedIn style community where people come together and engage and
go to other thought leaders and knowledge, you know, people that can share in those little communities like what you're describing. Sounds
yeah,
kind of like mighty networks.
I don't know what that is, to be honest, but
California product and they help you build your communities. It's a SaaS product for sure.
yeah, I mean, I think that those types of things are going to be huge. I think a lot of these little communities are going to spring up and be built. I think things are going to be more automated, so jobs will get more and more automated, and that's going to lead to more unemployment. It's going to be hard for everybody to stay employed if computers can do our jobs. So
Or robots.
what happens then? And I think the answer really is a universal basic income. I think having a floor of what people will make. And I think it's going to create an opportunity for a lot of artists out there and creatives to really advance all the things that aren't money generating, but that create value to mankind. I think, by having a universal basic income, it provides an opportunity for people to be artists and explore, different things and not necessarily have to worry so much about making money. So in 8 years, maybe we see the tip of that iceberg, but the next 100 years, definitely.
Yeah. Now, here in Florida, we have robots that are serving food in restaurants.
Get out of here. I
I'm
don't believe that.
serious. I don't know how is it like not in New York. I think that I sit here and go, really, it should be. And the funny thing is, it's kind of out in the Disney area, and out in that area, Osceola County. I'm in Florida, but I've heard of other people that have been on the show. They've had robots at parks where they're delivering food. So it goes into a little container like area of the body and it just rolls on out and says, here's your food and gives it to you. There's grocery stores in Europe where you can just, walk in and it's your watch, your Apple Watch or whatever, gets you in the store. You buy what you want, it's taken out of your account and you walk out. There's no people in there.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things will change for sure. I'd be interested to see. I've heard of the food with like a conveyor belt, the Japanese style, dim sum style,
Right.
but a robot that comes out and serves you your food. That is interesting. I mean, there's still just needs to be a person that cooks it or does there. I don't know. Maybe not.
No, they don't. Not always in a lot of those places. We have autonomous driving cars in some of the really nice communities here in
Yeah.
Orlando too.
Yeah,
And
that's coming.
yeah, it's here. They also have a little energy. They have energy stations everywhere, so people can start plugging in their Tesla or whatever. But it is definitely going to be here. And I think that the world that we see in 8 years is the landscape will look the same, but I really think that there's going to be a bigger impact on jobs, just like what you're predicting. Whether it's in hospitality, you can send robots to go and change sheets and whatever in a hotel room, right? So you don't always
Yeah,
have to have a person there, but it does. There's an ethical dilemma that comes out of this is what happens to those immigrants that do not speak English that well? Are they all going to be driving Uber and Lyft because they can't go and work in the hotels now? Or where do those people go? Where do the people that were incarcerated and get out of prison or jail? What are the jobs that are available to them or for those that are special needs? Because to me, I said, yeah, we can get rid of those jobs, but does that mean we should get rid of those jobs? Because they
that's a very tough ethical question. So,
right?
but if there's if there's a universal minimum basic income, then I think that would help.
They have that in Switzerland. I visited there many years ago, and everybody in that country is paid a basic income, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're shoveling snow off of the streets or you're the garbage man. Everybody gets a basic income. And then, you know, they use more of a caste system, is what I was also told, is whatever you were born into, that is the industry. So if your family were doctors, then that's what you're supposed to be, if whether you want to or not.
That's wild. I
Yeah,
don't know if I agree with all that. I've been to Switzerland. It's really nice.
it is
I
nice.
think it's illegal to throw gum in the streets,
Yeah.
and for that reason, all the streets are so clean. It's the opposite in New York City.
Oh my God. Yeah, you are so right. It is so ridiculously clean. Yeah. So we talked about robots and AI and all of that stuff, but there's a series on TV now. I didn't ask you about this before we got into the show, but it's called Black Mirror. Have you seen it by chance?
No, I've heard of it.
So if you're trying to figure out what the future is going to look like, it's on Netflix. And I started watching, there's I think 3 seasons and there's 5 episodes. They're episodic. And I was watching I think I got through 6 of them and I started backwards. I kind of went from season 3 back into 2. And every single one of them kept they're really dark.
Oh yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And it's scary because that ethical dilemma is what's being, thrown out there and like, well, should we do that? I don't think so. So taking an unconscious, a person that's in a coma, and taking their consciousness out and putting it in they did it in one of the episodes, a teddy bear. And then it was able to talk to the other person that they were married to. He had his wife. She wasn't going to come out of the state that she was in, but he had her that way and in a teddy bear. And then there was, I'm not going to give away what happened, but ethical dilemmas for sure. So I couldn't watch them anymore because they were just really disturbing.
Oh, big time. I saw one episode. I can't remember exactly what happened, but so people could rewind in their mind like what had happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up knowing all these things about the people around you and about yourself that you wouldn't normally know. And it's like, do you really want to know everything? Do you want to know the stuff that people said about you when you left the room? Do you want to know? And it has a negative impact as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are
And
the
yeah,
things that are,
ended in like a murder or something really dark, like you said.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I think that those are the things that people don't pay attention to because we're moving as a society so quickly and technology keeps going faster and faster and faster. And we're not keeping up with the pace at which anything is happening. Every day, I don't know about you, I open up my phone and go, oh, look, there's another app that's got a new update. Now I have to go learn this. So it's impossible to keep up with it.
absolutely impossible.
Mm-hmm. So, with all of that, and you're in this SaaS industry, what do you think could possibly happen here? Do we have a checks and balance system for this as a industry? Have you seen anything? Because I like the concept that you shared previously where we would have SaaS, but we're just connecting with SaaS customers instead of on LinkedIn where it can be all different types of industries, whether it's a brick and mortar or SaaS, whatever. But should there be a way that we can kind of keep stuff in checks and balances so that we're not gathering too much data about people? We're allowing people to keep private what they want to have stay private. I mean, we're moving towards that now, but has the damage already been done?
I see both sides. I mean, yeah, commercials are annoying, but without commercials, there wouldn't be TV, and TV is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then wouldn't you want commercials to be highly targeted for you so that they're the most useful? But then again, like a lot of this stuff is predatory, and I don't know if you're familiar with drop shipping and that business model, but I think people need to be held to a certain standard in terms of service. Like if regulators are going to come in, I mean, I'm not just talking about the freedom of speech stuff, but like anyone can start a business and sell their products with Google ads or LinkedIn ads or Facebook ads. So there needs to be, I mean, I think there needs to be regulation on around the quality of what those products and services are. And it's just kind of like the Wild West right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
it does feel that
and
way.
yeah, what are the checks and balances? Gosh, I don't know. I don't think there are any. And I think that's kind of the way things work. Like you err on one side and then the pendulum swings back the other way.
Yeah.
And it's a constant cycle.
Yeah, because I know that I work out of co-working spaces. So there's a lot of creative discussions that are going on. And I usually have to go, I sit in what I call the pit area, and I'm always hearing these and I'm going, I can't sit here. I want to engage in all these conversations, but I need to get my work done. But when I stay for them, they really raise a lot of really good, like, well, if we do this, what can happen here? So they were talking about electric cars because one of the guys has a Tesla. And they said, yeah, even though we have that and we're not consuming gas, we are consuming electricity. And then, we're using rare minerals also in our phones and these different things that are we stripping it out of one area to be able to do something? Now we have to go retrofit all of our homes to be able to plug in a car for electricity. And the materials that we use in batteries can be just as bad as taking petroleum out of the ground. So these are the discussions that I get engaged in, and I listen to what everybody's saying. I go, yeah, there are things that we think, yes, electricity or solar power or wind or water, these can all be good ways that we can improve a lifestyle and maybe save our planet. But are we thinking about what's the pro and the con? I am hoping that, because I'm going back to your concept of saying, yeah, we should have very unique industry ways of getting to SaaS customers and targeting them. And I'm going, I would like that. So what is the opposite side of it? I think that planning stage should be like, you could put that together as what would be the word I would call that? Just a whiteboarding session with people that are thought leaders in this and just say, so what do you think? How should we take something out there that's going to be good for consumers? And then how do we make sure we're being responsible about it? As opposed to what happened with Facebook, right?
Right. And
Well,
still not know. Who knows?
yeah, those
Hard to
terms
answer.
and conditions, we give a lot away
Yeah, I've never read one, so.
I read mine that I put up there that I'm having people sign. I go, yeah, I really want to protect the people in there. I don't want them. I'm not going to sell their data, so I want them to know that it's protected and it's private.
Yeah, but I mean, gosh, conferences, like, we make a living out of sharing data and sharing connections, and so I think if people aren't willing to share that data with us and we can't share it with our customers, then they don't really get to partake in the experience. I mean, maybe not the first time we would let them come, but eventually we would weed them out, and it would just be for the ones that do share.
Something to think about. I'm just saying, if you decide to do it like as a like a whiteboarding session, and just say, what is the future of our industry? Then count me in. I'd come to that for sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm serious. Like, I do want to participate in those kind of things, because I feel like we should, as much customer discovery that we do to try and make sure we have good product market fit, we should be weighing those things, because I really know that when I talk and my phone starts giving me ads on Pizza Hut pizza, and I'm going, but I just said that. And how did that start showing up in my phone? They're always listening. So
Oh yeah.
those, anyway, I know that this is like not the direction that we had talked about, but
No, all good.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So we're closing in over here on the end of the show. It's hard to believe, but what is the best mentoring advice that you want to share with our listeners?
I think just slow down. If you're like me, you want to have big success fast. And, what I've found is I've just been in such a hurry for so long, and your problems compound. Further down the line, if you're 40, 50, 60, and you're in a hurry and you have 100-person company, 1,000 people, you're just going to make things worse and worse. I mean, do things slow and steady. Don't cut corners. Do things the right way, and good things will happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that when I go to San Francisco, I feel a different type of energy, and I have felt that when I go to New York, and it just literally, I feel the pulse and the rhythm that's in those cities. And I think trying to slow down can be hard when there's a heartbeat there of just people going rush, 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 rush all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. Slow and steady wins the race.
I like that.
That is what they say.
Yeah. So where can our listeners contact you? What is the website? We have the conference website up here, but
yeah, check out the conference website. We would love to have people attend, or if you can't attend, just consume the content virtually. What it's about is growth and understanding the tactics that are going to help grow our companies over the next 12 months. And there's going to be a market downturn. It's going to get worse. We know it's coming. So how do you continue elite level performance in a market downturn? And just gathering the highest level execs to come and discuss it. But more importantly than that, we're also taking those learnings and putting them out there for everybody to access. So you get the same insights that these people get by just streaming it on our website or downloading it after the fact.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So the website is Ascent, ASCENTCONF.com, right?
You got it.
Perfect. And so is it okay for people to connect with you on LinkedIn? Do you accept those invites also?
Yeah. Say you heard about me here, and I'll auto accept it.
Awesome. Yeah. And then I saw on the website, I went there and looked, and you guys have a Twitter account too for the company. So those
do we? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on the footer. I found it.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
It was an email, and then there was Twitter, and I went, okay, so you're very active on LinkedIn as a company, but also over there on Twitter. Those are the only two channels I really pay attention to also, honestly.
Got it. Good to know.
So I really want to thank you for being here on the show, and I'm excited to meet you in person. And this show is going to be dropping in January, so you're going to get a notification when it comes out. Just so you know, I don't think I may have said this, but we air organic growth, no ads so far. We've hit pretty close to 8,000 downloads right now. We'll finish 10 by the end of the year, and it airs all over the world. So, it's catching its own little life and going out there. We have a YouTube channel, and most people seem to enjoy it on the audio download.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
We want to thank our sponsor, Cat5 Studios, and thank you to our production team, Josue Gonzalez, Gio Vargas, Dina Burks, and Lester Echols. Our music is by Sophie Lloyd, and you can visit Employers for Change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusion culture while skilling your people for the future of work. We want to thank you for supporting the Intern Whisperer, brought to you by Employers for Change, by subscribing to our show on Podbean or your favorite podcast channel.